He just listens to me when I talk. Like, even, the other day, I just been saying I really wanted to go to a farmer's market. And so he, called me one morning, Sunday morning. He was like, what are you doing? Get dressed. I'm about to come pick you up. And he, took me an hour away to this, really cute farmer's market. We had the best day. So it's things like that I'm like,
Those
yeah.
So the opening video was a story that Lori Harvey was telling about dating Michael B. Jordan. And it's unfortunate that their relationship didn't work out, at least I would say from her perspective, because I don't know how she's going to outdo Michael B. Jordan. And I'm sure this subject has been hashed to death, but the point I want to make is that she had the opportunity to marry the guy that checked all the boxes. He was tall, good looking, Hollywood image, everything. He ticks all the boxes. And for whatever reason, they split ways. And now Michael B. Jordan is going his way. And a 25-year-old woman is making her suitors sign NDA agreements so that they don't divulge whatever they're doing behind closed doors. But that's not necessarily what I think is most important about this video and what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the simple idea that most men, when you have a daughter, you dream of walking your daughter down the aisle to get married to a man of the caliber of Michael B. Jordan. Is he a perfect guy? Sure. Of course he's not. Of course not. But I mean, you could do a lot worse. And he wanted to marry her. He wanted to marry this woman. And so this video, I'm going to talk about the marriage window and more specifically how I think a lot of passport bros want to raise their daughters in a culture where they'll actually get to walk them down the aisle and see them get married. So if the dream for fathers is to see their daughters get walked down the aisle, I would think that the nightmare for daughters would be to wake up to their daughter saying something like this.
But I will say to 20-year-olds, and even to my 20-year-old self, I hate how I allowed myself to just be used up by men. And that came from a lack of self-worth. I did not understand my value that I was born with. I didn't.
Imagine hearing your daughter say that when she's 30 and she's had a child already, and she's lamenting the fact that she can't marry the man that she wants. As a father, I think that that would be devastating to see your little girl go from just cute little innocent girl to 30, 32, 34 with a child, and she can't find a partner. And so what I want to do is I want to talk about the difference. I want to talk about what happened between young, innocent little girl and lamenting not being able to get a partner, and why our culture is one where I think one motivation for passport bros is to raise daughters in a culture where they're going to have a chance to get married. I think that that's another driver for the passport bros. So when I talk about daughters, I think one of the things that fathers think about is you want to protect your daughters from their youth, from the attention that they're getting. And one of the unfortunate things I see in our society is that it tells young girls you can do whatever you want, you can have your fun in your 20s, you could just go live it up. The problem, of course, is that, well, first of all, the men around those young ladies see all of the behavior. So at the end, they're going to have to acknowledge that actually took place. But the other part of it is just simply, there are a lot of experiences that husband's just not going to be able to share with that young lady for the first time. And so, of course, guys are going to see the relationship, they're going to see it differently, which leads young girls to kind of rationalize it in this manner.
Mm-hmm. Because it's what my biggest issue is once you hit a certain age, you're no good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so women, we hit 30 and we're basically useless to society. Mm-hmm.
Now, this rationalization comes from the fact that she spent her 20s dating, well, I'm going to show you in a second. She spent her 20s dating, I'll show you now. She dated a famous Nigerian lawyer who was rich and multimillionaire. And then she dated, there's going to be a lot of basketball players. She dated a world famous basketball player and Ben Simmons. This is all allegedly, of course, but I think it's pretty much well documented. Then she dated a world famous singer who was probably wooing her to love songs before they, you know, did their romantic thing. And then she dated another basketball player who, of course, is going to be taller than average, 6'4", 6'5", you know, young, handsome guy, that whatever. And then she dates a world famous rapper who, I mean, world famous rapper. And then she dates a world famous singer who, I mean, he probably sung her serenades before they did the thing. And then she dated another world famous rapper. And then she dated, you know, a super world famous rapper, or dated or had an encounter with, allegedly. And then, you know, she has an encounter with another world famous basketball player. And then, of course, you know, she has an encounter with a football player. And then she has a child with a basketball player who is what? I think he's 6'9", 6'10". And then, of course, there's another world famous rapper in the mix. And so what kind of guy can be good enough that he can eclipse all of those guys? If you put them all together, you're going to get Tupac in a suit in some form or fashion. How can a guy come behind that and, number one, be the guy that she wants and be the guy that she wants while not caring about the fact that she dated Kevin Gates and had a baby and dated Colin Kaepernick and James Harden and Drake and who is this, Tiger and Chris Brown and who was that, Lil Uzi Vert and Jamal Murray and Trey Songz and Ben Simmons and I got Caesar Chukwuma. And you're going to marry her and say, I want to do something special. I'm going to sing to you. I remember when Trey Songz sang to me. I want to take you on a plane trip. I remember when I went on a plane trip with Chris Brown. She is unfortunately in a position now where she's thinking, why do men look down on me because I'm 30? And the flaw is it's an unfortunate logic, because it's not because she's 30. It's because her standard for the guy that she wants, that she needs, that's going to make her heart melt, is all of these guys put together. And how can you win that game? A guy can't win that game, especially if this is a guy who built himself up and he had a 20s that were the opposite of her. If you're a businessman / not entertainer / not sports mogul, your 20s are nothing like hers. You are sitting at a desk, you are working, you're flying around, busting your behind, and most millionaires get their first million or two when they hit their 40s to 50s. So you are getting your 50s when she basically had her 20s living like a rock star. And you have to eclipse that lifestyle. It is the saddest part about our current culture. And that brings us back to Lori Harvey. So if you look at the video, you can see that Brittney Rinner is trying to rationalize where she is. She's in her early 30s. She's had all of these A-star guys, A-level star guys, and none of them married her. And now she has a child, and she has these really high expectations for the man she wants. And Lori Harvey is on the way there. She had Michael B. Jordan wanted to marry her. And now you got the guy that's going to come behind her or come behind Michael B. Jordan, that guy right now, if he's not in music or not in sports, he's sitting at a desk somewhere grinding. And his 20s are the mirror opposite of hers. He is not getting a lot of attention. He is not getting a lot of fanfare. A lot of girls are not coming in and out of his apartment. He is sitting at a desk grinding. And he's going to grind through his 20s and probably going to grind through his 30s to be a top tier surgeon, a top tier lawyer, a top tier whatever he's going to be. And he's going to have to do that for dozens of years before he gets to the point where he's the top 1% guy that she's going to want. And then that guy is going to have to he's going to have to compete with Diddy's ghost and Future's ghost and Michael B. Jordan's ghost. And that's going to be a running theme in that relationship. And I think one of the problems with our culture, and is really unfortunate, is that we're seeing in the numbers, a lot of young ladies are just not getting married. And a lot of women are hitting their 30s, the mid 30s, and they start thinking, where's my husband at? And if you have your 20s where you're just all of these wonderful experiences with these guys that have money, but they never marry you. And then the guy who's watching you have all the experiences is saying, well, I want to have those experiences with a 20-year-old, not you. Then you just have this culture that recycles younger ladies in for older ladies who are looking for marriage and not finding it. And I'll be honest, one of the things that I think about is I want to see my young girls get married. And you have to be part of a culture that encourages young girls to say, listen, I'm going to give my youth to a guy who deserves it, instead of waiting for myself to get into my 30s and start looking around. With that said, I just want to say, I think a lot of passport bros are not just looking for marriage for themselves, but they're looking for cultures that encourage marriage. From younger ladies who are saying, I'm going to settle down with a guy. I'm going to give my best years to a guy who is a hardworking, responsible guy and build something. Because we're seeing a phenomenon that we've never really seen of larger and larger numbers of women in their 30s and 40s and 50s never experiencing marriage. That's all for today. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.